Hello Virgo, welcome to Lit Intuition Tarot, Twin Flames in Recovery. My name is Kay. Any information that you'd like about this channel, including a link to my website where you can book a personal reading, is below in the description box. These last couple of weeks, I've been focusing mainly on the twin flame connection. So, in the morning, I'll be doing the yang half, which is more of the light, masculine, or active polarity. And then in the evenings, I'll be doing the yin reading, which is, of course, the shadow, feminine, or more passive polarity of the connection. And that's the one I'm doing right now. So keep in mind, it's regardless of gender, we all have a mixture of feminine and masculine qualities within us. So you may resonate, for instance, more as a masculine, but operating more right now from your shadow. In that case, you may want to check out both readings. A note about cross-watching. While I never intend for these readings to be a way to spy on one's twin flame, if you are a cross-watcher, I don't judge. I simply ask that you use your discernment as as far as how you use the information gained, if any, and keep in mind that I will be using the term you throughout this reading to refer to Virgo yin twins. So just reverse roles as necessary. One more shuffle here to go. As always, if this reading does resonate with you, please like, share, subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'd greatly appreciate any support. Tap the notification bell and the all button to be made aware of my future uploads. Now let's get started, Virgo. So before I hit record, I pre-shuffled the 3 decks that were already on the table. We'll start out with the Fallen Angel Oracle deck and get 2 of those cards just kind of for an overall theme of this week's reading. So the first one we have out is Gop, which I believe Jim and I got last night in their yin reading as well. We have Gop, which is 36, and it says change, development. And then Malthus, 32, danger. Okay, so looking at the numbers, 36 comes to a 9, 32 comes to a 5. Somebody might be 95, I'm just kidding. I mean, you could be, but you could be born in 95, you could be 59. Those numbers could be significant. I'm going to go ahead and read their meanings from the book. Alright, so 36. This one is when I dissolved into a peal of giggles, so hopefully this time I don't lose control. And I'll tell you why in a minute, but okay, so it says, oh wait, no, that wasn't this one, thank God. Okay. 36, Gop, element air, planet Mercury. Unless opposed by Byleth, this card bodes well. Act while your enemies are distracted. Gop is a powerful angel, almost the equal of Byleth, and a rival to him. According to legend, Gop was once forced by the magical spells of either Solomon or Noah's son Shem to serve Byleth in the composing of a book on mathematics, and has resented it ever since. So when paired together, which they are not here, by the way, Gop and Byleth represent strife and discord. Alone, as in this case, Virgo, Gop can stir either love or loyalty. He can steal the strength of enemies and afflict them with lethargy. Alright. Then card 32 says, Malthus, element fire, planet Mercury. Gather allies and strengthen your defenses against possible assault. Malthus's totem is the raven, wisest of the feathered race and messenger of the gods. Like the raven, this angel is often unjustly blamed for bringing war. In fact, he appears at ominous times not because he is a cause of the upsets that threaten, but to warn of their coming and to help guard against their worst excesses. Malthus's other emblem is the tower or stronghold against the walls of which a besieging enemy's armies are broken. Alright, so a little bit of warning there. Might be having some drama or chaos on the horizon. I'll put those up here and then get this deck cleared off the table real quick and then lay out the tarot. Okay, so y'all saw me shuffle this deck on camera. I'm going to go ahead and split it now. Alright, so for the top row we have the Eight of Swords, which is Gemini energy. Then the Five of Cups, Scorpio energy. The World, major arcana for the fixed signs, those being Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. Then we have the Nine of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy. Now on the bottom row we have the Ten of Swords, Gemini energy. Just a moment here, what was this one again? The Nine of Wands. Okay. We have the Tower here. I think it said something about a tower in that second oracle card we pulled. So that's major arcana for Scorpio and Aries energy. We have the Six of Spheres, which is Taurus. And lastly we have the Judgment card, another major, this time for Scorpio. Alright, so I've pre-shuffled this Radiant Rider-Waite deck to clarify as we go. Starting out though, the first card is addressed to those of you who may consider yourselves to resonate more with the runner energy. You're probably familiar with the concept that there is often a runner and a chaser in the twin flame connection. If you identify more as the runner, which is the person who tends to be more uncomfortable with their emotions, with the depth of the connection with their twin flame, maybe you tend to ghost people when you're uncomfortable and don't know how to respond or want them to back off, or you leave them on red, or you push them away somehow, or literally run by changing locations, starting to engage with another partner, you know, that kind of energy, an avoidant attachment style, then this is a message for you. And we'll look at it a little more closely here. So with the Eight of Swords, Spirit is saying that although you may feel when you are running from the connection like you are attaining freedom, in a sense you're actually just creating your own prison, because you are confining yourself into a space where you aren't considering the possibilities of what Spirit may have for you. Now, we all have free will, so this isn't a message indicating that, you know, you should be forced to do anything. However, you're not running away. I've said this in like 2 of the other yin readings so far this week. It comes to mind that expression, wherever you go, there you are, Virgo. So even though running from this connection may immediately in that moment feel freeing or like you escaped from something, it's not. It's kind of like you're running into your own trap. This often will cause you at some point to stop, and then you might be kind of stuck in your head with thoughts that go round and round, circling in your brain, over-analyzing, you know, the connection or what went wrong or what that person did to make you run, or why you ran, why you shouldn't have run. You know what I'm saying? You can get really caught like in a loop. And that, and of course, is the opposite of freedom, even when you are not physically confined. So I'm not going to start clarifying yet with the next card, the runner. Excuse me, I meant to say this message is for the chaser. Five of Cups. The chaser would be the one who has more of like the anxious attachment style, tends to have a lot of insecurities. I feel that if you are the chaser in this connection, this in itself has brought you some elements of regret. You may be feeling humiliated, or like, I'm not saying you are pathetic, so please don't take it that way. You may be feeling that way, like, oh, I really, you know, put myself out on the line, I keep chasing this person, and I know that the more that I do it, the more this person runs away. It's a very frustrating dynamic because there's cups there, you have love and emotions for this person, you'd like to express that to your twin, but it just makes them run away seemingly, and that leaves you with a feeling of regret, like you made a mistake. I'm going to clarify that, but I'm also picking up from this message that, have some compassion for yourself, because you can't go back and change the past. So all you can do is take a look at your approach and your strategy, although that sounds very calculated, but try to figure out perhaps a better way to approach things so that you're not left feeling like the separation is all your fault because you acted wrong when you chased. I'm going to go ahead and clarify the first card, the runner message here with the Eight of Swords. Spirit, please show me the Eight of Swords for Virgo Yin, 3 cards or less, to clarify this for the runner. Okay, and we have the Page of Wands. I'm thinking, so when you run, when you try to escape the connection by whatever means, I'm seeing it almost as being like a false start. So this, like again, this does not mean you don't have free will or that you're doomed to something that you don't want to be a part of. But I see it as being like, I'm going to set off on new shores, new experiences, kind of this curiosity to explore what else is out there. And that may be sort of the motivation or like the justification that you would give yourself for running away from the connection. Maybe there's something new, that's better for me. And often the twin flame connection can be quite difficult, and it may seem at times like you're not compatible or you'll never be together, and that's understandable. So at that time, you may take sort of a fresh, almost childlike approach in the sense of starting new, finding something that ignites your interest or your passion elsewhere and exploring that. That may be kind of like you're running. I don't know why I keep mixing up my terms here. I apologize, y'all. That might be sort of like your running MO, so to speak. I'm not going to clarify the regrets because I felt like that came through pretty clearly. I'm looking at the World card. What draws the two of you to one another is this sense deep down, and it's a major arcana card, that the two of you coming into union would be the end of a chapter in the sense of your regular mundane lives. I'm not saying that those are, maybe I shouldn't have used the word mundane because that sounds critical. It's not that your lives are unimportant. Everything that you do, of course, is important, and self-care is always, number one. So if you have been in separation or alone, it doesn't mean that your life is meaningless. What it's saying, though, is that through the twin flame connection, you guys are drawn to each other because you feel like together you'll be closing a chapter on pretty much everything that came before and ascending to a new level of consciousness, of spiritual ascension. Because the world talks about endings, it also talks, though, however, about ascension, about going to a new, higher level, like graduating, in a sense, from something. So you two, the two of you, are just magnetically pulled back together, knowing that you have this fate, this higher purpose. That's beautiful. And what else is beautiful about the connection? Well, we have the Nine of Wands. The two of you are, you're resilient. So no matter what happens, you may feel wounded at different times by one another, or just in general by the obstacles that come from being together or interacting with each other. And you've been through it, but it doesn't make you give up. The end is in sight, and you keep pushing forward. And it shows a beautiful kind of commitment, which even if someone's running, someone's chasing, whatever the case may be, it's still like you're willing to come back and give it another try because you both know how important it is. So even if you're not connected in a visible 3D practical way, with an engagement ring or a marriage or some kind of earthly contract, you're still both committed in a sense. You're very passionate about one another. Now what complicates the connection with the Ten of Swords is that you've both caused one another enormous pain, whether intentionally or not. Of course, one would like to think unintentionally, but when we're in our shadow, sometimes we can deliberately hurt the other person, especially if we feel like they've hurt us. And so there's been this kind of back and forth of feeling like you were betrayed by your twin. And this could be something as simple and abstract as, well, I can't feel them, you know, in the 3D. I'm looking for my twin, but I can't feel them. Maybe they've turned away. Maybe they're with another partner. Maybe they've forsaken this connection. Or it could be as serious and, you know, visible as being cheated on by your twin if you've been in a connection. Anything that causes you just to feel stabbed in the back and betrayed by them in some way. So even though it seems like you two seem to overcome this when it happens, I mean, the 10 does talk about the end. So it's like you feel like everything's over. You can never come back from this connection ending the way that it did, this particular circumstance. We do see with the 9 of Wands, though, that you do tend to come back together each time. However, each time you come back together, you probably bring in then baggage from all those betrayals and all that hurt and all those endings, you know, where it seems like maybe this has just grown too toxic, and it might even be for the betterment of both of you to end it. I want to add the disclaimer here that, you know, I'm not a professional in the medical or psychological field or anything like that, but none of this, when I'm talking about these things and how they keep coming back together and how that's beautiful, I'm not referring to any situations that involve narcissistic abuse and hoovering or abuse in any way, shape, or form. So please take note of that. I would always, you know, I would never encourage someone to continue to try in a union such as that. But if we're not talking about that kind of thing, you know, you can still feel very betrayed and stabbed in the back by your partner. So that does complicate things, having that, you know, between you. However, I'm seeing here with the next card being the Tower, this shows the ways that your twin heals you. And so this is an indication to me from Spirit that having gone through these towers, you're able to constantly tear down the foundations that are false. So say you met this person at a party and you guys were both really fucked up, Virgo, and you had sex the first time you met, you know, and then you parted ways, and then heaven forbid, you know, you find out that, no, well, that's really an extreme example. I'm not going to go there. But let's just say that happened, and then you start seeing each other more often, and you base a relationship on that. Now, while it's true that there have been some cases where relationships that began that way ended up nicely, it can complicate things as far as what your foundation is actually based on. So from then on, if you guys, for instance, feel like you constantly have to have extreme situations where you're both inebriated, or you're both out partying with a lot of friends, or spending a lot of money, or whatever the case may be, it can be a very rocky connection, because you can't have catastrophe after catastrophe after drama, and all this chaos. You know, while it might be exciting, especially in the beginning stages, it can again grow very toxic over time. So Spirit is showing, though, that with these towers that you have been through up until this point, it has helped to heal you, because in having to face those issues, you have rebuilt time after time. It has caused you to heal, like, basically in the sense of, well, if I could get through that, or if we can get through that, then we can get through anything. And then it's causing you, you know, as you come together over time, you start putting more solid blocks toward the foundation of building the new tower, you know, so that you know now what makes it fall, and you know what to do to make it steadier so that it will not continue to fall endlessly. Anyway, so it's kind of like strength through adversity. I do want to clarify this 10 of Swords, though. I went ahead for what complicates the connection. Spirit, please show me 3 cards or less to clarify this 10 of Swords for Virgo Yin. Cards are... Oops. Okay. Well, the one that flipped over in the deck is the Knight of Cups. So, you know, I almost feel a little bit uncomfortable with that, simply because I'm thinking, well, if you really stab somebody in the back and betray them, then you can't just cover it with the Band-Aid of showing up at their door with, you know, a bouquet of roses and some chocolates or whatever. Because the Knight of Cups, although he is sweet and emotional and can offer love, I see it almost as being sort of like a flighty type of energy at times. However, this is what complicates the connection. So perhaps instead of really taking a look at why this tower has continued to crumble, where exactly the foundation needs to be fixed, what has complicated it in the past throughout the time that you've known one another, is that sometimes it's easy for one person to come toward the other, and maybe you're so in love or you're so attracted to each other, or they're very charming and sweet with their words, or they know exactly how to get you, where it's like, oh, it's just easy to kind of overlook the depth and the intensity of the pain that you were put through, especially if you know that you're twin flames and you believe that in the end you will come to a successful union. So just something to keep in mind. Instead of a Knight of Cups, perhaps, next time, you might want to face those kind of issues with a little bit more gravity and figure out what the root of the problems are. So now looking at how you actually help your twin flame to heal. With the Six of Spheres, you've balanced things out for this person, perhaps in the sense that they may have had issues with reciprocity in previous relationships. So they could have been more the giver in a particular situation, or even have been more of the taker and even felt some guilt for that, or realized that they did things wrong. But with you, at least they feel like things are fair. So, you can get as good as you give. Now, whether that leads to another, Ten of Swords and patch it up with the Knight of Cups kind of energy remains to be seen. But, at least that pattern is recognized here. And like I said, it helps you to heal in a sense. But you are helping your twin to realize that things actually can be fair in a union. They can be reciprocal. That from you, they generally tend to get back what they give. Even if you don't want to look at it as a tit for tat, the relationship overall seems balanced to this person. And that can probably help them to overall have faith in the connection ultimately, and to have faith in relationships and in other people in general. Then the final card in the spread, we have Judgment. So this is the energy of the two of you when you're together. This is a revisiting of the past. It talks about, either coming to a reckoning with it, perhaps getting closure, or just realizing it needs to be left in the past, even if you need to get closure on your own. Or on the other end, reconciling and each taking responsibility or blame where it's due, and deciding to move forward, with a second chance. So I see that this connection has been extremely tumultuous, and the two of you are often brought to a place of reckoning or reconciliation. It seems that you, up to this point, have continued to generally reconcile. Now, right now you may be in separation, so that may be up in the air. And it looks like both of you are in an energy, where your energy meets, is that you're very seriously sort of considering all of the ramifications of this connection, what it is in your life, what it has been in the past, what you want it to be going forward. Spirit, please clarify the Judgment card for Virgo Yin. 3 cards or less. Please clarify Judgment for Virgo. Alright, we've got the 8 of Wands. I think that the two of you, if you are in separation, will soon actually have a conversation about this. Seems like there's going to be some fast-moving energy going back and forth. So, be prepared for perhaps messages, phone calls, emails, that type of thing, if anybody emails anymore. And it, centered around sort of this theme, like an I've been thinking about you, and this happened, this is what I did wrong, or I apologize, or I'm still not at peace with how you did this, and you never took responsibility. Whatever the case may be, I do see in the energy of both of you that you want to connect with each other, and you want it to happen quickly. The 8 of Wands is a fast-moving, passionate energy, and it does speak about communication. So be prepared for that. Now, if you're already in regular communication with your twin flame on a daily basis, or whatever the case may be, then there is definitely a need to have a conversation about this on point, where you're really focused on what's going on here, and having a lively, equal exchange, inject some energy into that, because I feel a very sort of like a stuck, stagnant feeling. Like, even if you guys are drawn together by the focus on the fact that you're going to ascend and graduate to the next level through this connection, so I'm seeing it as being like some things, it seems like they happen faster and faster as you, like, so take an alcoholic, for instance. I say it's a progressive disease. So if an alcoholic gets sober and they're on the wagon and then they relapse, it's like at first they might be able to keep it to a couple of beers after work on a Friday with friends. It's like, okay, yeah, I can handle this. But for a lot of alcoholics, they find that if they continuously sober up and then fall off the wagon again, that each time it happens a little bit faster, a little bit harder, a little bit worse. You see what I'm saying? It almost seems like that's kind of the pattern that the two of you have gotten stuck in with your energy. So, you know, there is still some good here, but it seems like it's like, okay, so somebody runs, somebody chases, back and forth, etc., etc. Then you're drawn back together by this whole faded sense of purpose of it all. But then it's like you keep getting yanked into this repeated pattern of, you know, the worst pain you can possibly feel, then let's try to cover it up, and then constantly having to heal from what happened, you know. So I think that it really just needs to be a very focused, on point conversation about what's been going on and how the two of you want to move forward. All right. Magician at the bottom of the deck, by the way, on the clarifiers. I just noticed that. I won't include it in the reading, but that does, of course, show your energy, Virgo, as well as that of Gemini, but more importantly, it talks about having all the tools that you need to be able to manifest and create the reality that you desire going forward. So maybe just take that as a little positive message there at the end. Finally, I'm going to get two cards from this pre-shuffled Twin Flame Oracle deck. First, we have Fifth Dimension, Intuitive Communication. You are connected at the soul level. So that's bringing me back to that Judgment card clarified by the Eight of Wands. You are connected. You both are feeling this urge to communicate about the issues at hand. The next card is Vibration, Energy and Positivity. Raise your vibration to attract what you desire. Alright, that's pretty self-explanatory. So Virgo, I'm going to end your reading there. Once again, if it resonated, please show the love, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys again next week. Thank you for your time and attention, Virgo, and have a wonderful night.